Costello.
Thank you, Mayor and colleagues. The purpose of this particular memo was sort of a response to, again, a couple of speakers that we had. And so this is to make a point of the fact that once a rideshare driver has accepted a rideshare, that they are not permitted to get off that. Obviously, as a follow-up to a discussion that we had earlier where there was a question asked of the director about how we're going to enforce this. Obviously, it's going to be a complaint-driven activity, but we want to put everybody on notice that this is what the city's position will be. Thank you.
Councilmember, I think it's worth noting that a limo driver, a taxi driver, other vehicles for hire, the drivers may offer contact information. In fact, a lot of them do get repeat business, but if you're driving under the app as a TNC, you cannot. So that is a distinction we are drawing. Further discussion? Moving to a vote. Councilmember Kuba.
I believe that some of the council members have a question about the fact that, are you saying that if I'm picked up by an MTC and
TNC.
TNC, okay. I switch them sometimes. I can't get his contact information to call him again.
No, sir. That's what this amendment would do.
Okay, I just want to be clear.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Bradford.
Thank you. Not that I'm opposed to it, I just want clarity again. Particularly as it relates to ride sharing, the whole concept. I thought part of the concept that underlies ride sharing is just this. It is to establish kind of a relationship where you use people that are, particularly the Lyft model, where you use people in your general geography, and you may even come to know that person in your general geography, your neighborhood perhaps, and you would take cars off the road. Isn't this counter to what some of the underlying premise is about ride sharing? Is it not better that I come to know the person that I'm sharing the ride with? Isn't that part of it, Ms. Pies? Ms. Pies, that's your question.
May I answer?
Please.
This is not rideshare. This is a transportation network company, and yes, I understand this is supposed to be a social experiment, and you get to travel with other people in your neighborhood, but there's a mechanism for that in the app. If you want to see that driver again, you can rate him really, really high. But the idea here is as much for the driver's protection as it is for the passenger's protection. These are not professional drivers. This may be a young college girl. Neither one of the apps allows them to collect this sort of information. The numbers are supposed to be blocked on both sides, specifically so you don't have that individual's contact information.
I understand that. Are we going to prohibit, are the taxi drivers prohibited now from getting business cards from people?
No, that's the distinction that the mayor raised. With limos and with taxis, we encourage it. That's how taxis get their personals, what they call personals. They end up getting those contracts. With TNC drivers, we want all of the activity to happen through the app. And as you just saw with the insurance, it is critical that the activity happen through the app because that's when that $1 million coverage is in place.
I understand that component. And as I said, I'm not opposed to the amendment on the table. Just wanted to flush this out, still a little more discussion about it. Because I do believe that part of the underlying premise is to deal with people, particularly the rideshare component of, let me say, the Lyft model. Is to deal with people that are in your general geography to assist you with where you're going. So thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Director Paez, to follow on the councilman's question, we see a distinction between the TNC and a rideshare.
Yes, ma'am. Rideshare is the karma model. That's where several people get together. The biggest reimbursement you're going to get is what the tax code allows. This is not rideshare. This is clearly a separate model. It's a transportation network company, and most of the industries have specifically requested that in this ordinance it was important to the stakeholders that we distinguish it from rideshare.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem Davis.
Thank you, ma'am. I've had the opportunity to use Lyft and Uber before, and I'm just trying to figure out when you press the button, you arrive at the curb, and you, well, before they arrive at the curb, they call you. And, you know, they can call you, say I'm on the way, or they can't find you. So then, wouldn't they have your phone number then?
Our understanding from our discussions with Uber and Lyft was that the number that appeared on your phone wasn't necessarily the number for that driver. Just like your number wasn't the one that they were, it's scrambled so that it's a different number that appears for them as well.
High technology. Okay.
Councilmember Pennington?
I'm sorry, Director Pass, would you just take 1 minute to discuss the ride-sharing program? I thought in the meeting I had with Lyft now, which has been some time ago, that's one of their objectives to promote that. You say there's a different app, and could you say a couple of words about that?
Their true rideshare is, say for example, you have a group like Karma, where they will come in and there's not a fare for it. What they'll do is you're reimbursed at that IRS rate. Many of you know it's like 55 cents per mile, and that just covers your cost. And everyone who's riding in that rideshare program contributes to that. This is a completely different enterprise. It's a commercial enterprise. Yes, it's people in your own neighborhood, and that's the reason that you should be able to get that trip cheaper than you would if you had a trip that was going across town. This is somebody who may live on the next block, so they can offer it to you for a couple of bucks. And it's a great social experiment because you get to meet people in your neighborhood, but it is not rideshare, and it can never be characterized as rideshare.
Is there going to be an effort to develop a ride-share? Is any company proposing that right now?
Karma currently offers it. They came in and spoke a couple of times in public session.
Okay, thank you very much.
In addition, there are a number of ride shares that are, a ride share is a van that brings people the carpool is a ride share. A traditional carpool system is considered a ride share. So you all work together at the medical center, you get together at a park and ride line, you all ride a van in together, for example. Like that. Okay. Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. For the record, I just want to be very clear. This is my iPhone. I do not have a Uber nor Lyft or no one else app on this phone. I just want to talk from my perspective, practical perspective. What my colleague asked a question about being able, in the amendment, be able to identify the same driver. This is a different model. This is not taxi. This is a different model. And we can continue to try to cut at it and cut at it and cut at it. This is not the current existing transportation model we currently operate under. So you have an app. When I get mine, I look forward to get it. You hit it, and my understanding, the nearest vehicle in that area will be there. And to be able to continue to say, I want Tina to come get me, and then if you can't, then we want to put a bad mark on the model. And I don't think that's fair. I just think that we need to understand we're moving, fourth largest city in the country, moving in a new direction, and we need to be fair about it and open mind to the process. We're going to have regulations in place. We're going to make certain that any violators, and we have it in these amendments, will be dealt with. But let's not try to compare an apple to an orange in terms of a model. So I just want to be on record with that.
Councilmember, that's a very, very good distinction that you made, and that is supposed to be the beauty of TNCs, is you may have somebody who's sitting on their couch and they've just become available to drive and they may be one street over from you, so that's going to show up as the one that's closest to you and that's the one that you're going to pick. And by rating them, you'll either keep them on the system or not keep them on the system.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wynn.
Thank you, Mayor. Director, will ARA prohibit or oppose the TNC acting as a broker or a middleman? Let's say I like that driver that served me, and I want to request that driver again. Can I do that?
We haven't written anything in the ordinance that prohibits that. The only thing that Councilmember Costello's amendment would do is not allow you to get their email or get their phone number.
Correct.
If there's a mechanism to do that through the app, that's entirely up to the app companies. We wouldn't oppose that.
So I have to contact the company to request that same driver that I like.
I would actually ask them that question. I don't know whether that exists or not.
Thank you.
Good question, Councilmember, and I suspect that they would have a mechanism for allowing that to happen. Councilmember Kubash.